We're going to take a look at the pen tool. In order to do that, I'm going to select my paint bucket here. I'm going to put a white background on this document. And our pen tool can be found right above our text tool. When we click on that, notice that we get a lot of options up here like we do with everything else in Photoshop. And these options, they give you shape, path, and pixels. We're going to be working in path. Some of these others are similar to what we've seen before in tutorials, like combining shapes, subtracting from shapes, just like we saw with the magic wand tool. What the pen tool does is it allows us to create a path. When we click the first time, that's an anchor point, and each time we click after that, it will add anchor points to our shape. Now if we hold down our shift key when we're clicking, it will actually create a straight line from our last anchor point. If we hold down shift key and drag our pen tool, it'll create a straight line from our last anchor point, and we'll talk about these extra little pieces that are stretching out from there in a minute. Now once we get our shape, we can come back over to the pen tool, click and hold down, and there's some other options here. The two we're going to look at right now, add anchor point and delete anchor point. Delete anchor point is exactly what it sounds like. When I click on a particular anchor here with that delete anchor point selected, it will remove that spot and it will default back to the next one. So when I remove this one, we're going to have a line going from here to here because it no longer has something to go to over here. Add anchor point is the same thing. We're adding an anchor. When we click on the line, it adds that anchor. Again, we'll talk about these extra lines here in a minute. Now if I want to move this anchor, I can come down here, select this arrow key, click on my anchor, and I can pull it. These tangent lines will allow me to adjust one side of this curve. So if I grab this and twist, notice that I can straighten this line out and still retain this curve before the anchor point. Again, I can grab this side, do the same thing. Now with the convert point tool, which can be found by clicking our pen tool again, holding down, when we use that tool, we can actually change our point back to a regular anchor, taking away those curves and that kind of stuff that we added when we used this arrow key down here. It will also allow us, if we click again on the anchor using that tool and pull, we can pull them back out, and we can adjust one side of this tangent line. And this allows us to create some flowing curves, allows us to do a lot of things with images that we would need to do. One thing we can use this for is if we have our pencil tool set up, we're going to change this color to black. We're going to change our size to maybe 8 or so. If I go back to my pen and I right click on my path, I can come down here to stroke path. It asks me what tool I want to use. I want to use my pencil because that's what I just set up. And I click OK. And it drew a line following that path. Now it's important to understand that without doing that, this path that I drew is not actually a line. Even though it looks like a line, it didn't actually draw the line. I'm going to step backwards and show you what I mean. We're going to create a new layer. Now I'm going to click off of my path. And now I'm going to flatten my image. I'll go to File, Print. And notice there's nothing on my canvas here. That's because it's not going to print the actual path. If I come back to my pen tool, right click, stroke path, OK, File and Print. Now I have